Hello, and thank you all for joining us today on this rainy and rather warm day in Ottawa for January. It's only, I think, -2 today, which is actually a very, very nice balmy weather for us. So thank you for coming, and today I'll be talking about FileCatalyst Workflow and the upcoming release that will include our transfer agent integrated into FileCatalyst Workflow. Hello, my name is John Tkaczewski. I'm the president and co-founder of FileCatalyst. I've been on FileCatalyst Workflow project since pretty much the very beginning. This is a project that started back in 2004. But back then it was called Doctera, then we changed names to Files2U, and now it's called FileCatalyst Workflow. So I have quite a bit of history background on this product. I also was one of the designers and developers on this project. I helped out with it, so I should be able to answer most questions you have about this new integration. If you have any questions during my presentation, feel free to enter them in the GoToWebinar window, and I will get to your questions at the end of my presentation. So we have already several webinars on what FileCatalyst Workflow is, which I encourage you to watch if you're not familiar with the product. I'm not really going to spend too much time on the features of the product. I just want to give you a broad overview here. So FileCatalyst Workflow is a web-based portal for all your file transfer needs. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife of file transfers for the web. So some of the major main features: you can send large files to any email address. You can do this as an end user or via an API. End users can submit large files via a website, including some metadata or the job information as well. So for example, if you need to create like an online Dropbox or online ingest system, FileCatalyst Workflow is designed for that as well. Another feature that many of our users use is the file areas, the many different configurations and options for file sharing and online folders. So in a sense, FileCatalyst Workflow can become a corporate Dropbox for your files. FileCatalyst can also integrate with the automated hot folder product on our direct line, so you can actually automatically sync up different shared folders. So this is something as well you have in Workflow. And there's also a very flexible automation and integration with the back office application. So we can create, for example, an XML file representing the job entered, and your back office application could pick it up. We can integrate with third-party FTP servers. So if you want to drop files to an FTP site, you can do that as well with Workflow. So it's a Swiss Army knife of file transfers. So there are many different features and configurations. Depending on the end user, one end user can be, let's say, only sending files to an email address, while another could have access to a various number of shared folders for sharing files. So it's just one big portal for all your file transfers. So what is TransferAgent? Well, TransferAgent, it's something we've been working on. The first version came out, I think it was October 2014. So we've had it for already well over a year. And the project for integrating TransferAgent into Workflow started pretty much immediately after we released 4.9.5, which was last June, and it has been running since. So it's been now 7 months in the works. We're almost done with this project. 4.9.6 is coming up shortly, so I'll be showing you these features in a few minutes. So TransferAgent, what is it? Well, it's an alternative to Java Applets. As you may know, most web browsers have either announced or already stopped supporting Java Applets. So I'll give you an example here. Chrome dropped support for Java Applets, I think it was October 2015, so about 4 months ago. Edge, Microsoft Edge, which is the replacement web browser for Internet Explorer, has never supported Java Applets. Firefox still supports Java Applets, I think, until the end of this year, so we're still good there. Opera also supports Java Applets. Safari on Mac supports Java Applets as well. But they are all in the process of either removing it or restricting the applets, the use of applets. So we needed to come up with something new to be able to do two things. First of all, the built-in web browser tools for transferring, uploading files are very limited. You cannot upload complex folders. You cannot retry if there's a drop in communication. You cannot do an MD5 checksum to compare files. You cannot do RUDP acceleration or accelerating file transfers from the web browser to get, better, faster speeds. So all these advanced features don't exist in web browsers. So we had to build some kind of a helper application that will talk with most of the recent browsers and provide this information. And this is where we build the TransferAgent. So TransferAgent, think of it as it's a desktop application that runs similarly to what you're using right now, the GoToWebinar here. If you downloaded their desktop application, you're not using the browser-based one, then you know how that kind of works. You are prompted to install it and run it, and then you have a GoToMeeting application on your computer. And it's the same idea here with TransferAgent. TransferAgent runs as a separate desktop app and integrates with all the web browsers. So when a user hits a web page that needs file transfer or TransferAgent, they'll be prompted to either install it or they will just start using whatever the user already has installed. This supports all the web browsers you can think today. We officially support Chrome, Firefox, and IE and Safari, but I mean we brand this in Opera, Edge, and all the new browsers as well. So this will work with anything that is modern today. Right now we have upload and download functionality for TransferAgent. The two-way or the two-way Java applet replacement will be coming a little bit later this year. But this is something we're working on. And of course, this feature will also be integrated into FileCatalyst Workflow down the road once it comes in. But right now, it's only uploads and downloads. So what happened? So the last release of FileCatalyst Workflow was in, I think it was in June of last year. So it's been almost 8 months. Many things have changed. The project took a bit longer. We were hoping to have something, done for October, but with developments being more complicated and required a lot more testing, this project has stretched and it's going to come out in probably first or second week of February. But here's some of the new features. So first of all, you have the TransferAgent, the alternative to Java Applets. With the TransferAgent, a new ability to submit a job, select your files, and now you can close your web browser or navigate away from FileCatalyst Workflow, and that job will still be submitted and files uploaded. So this is a very neat feature that this TransferAgent integration allowed us to do. Some other features we added ability to generate JSON files for the job submitted or downloaded. So if your back office application needs to know who downloaded what, they can grab it now in JSON format. We already had that for XML, now we just added JSON. We added, because once again Java Applets are gone, we added much more reliability to the form upload. So for example, we had issues with the form upload not working properly in Firefox. We addressed that. We had issues with when a mobile device was going to upload files, it would affect other transfers. So this is some stuff we fixed. Rename tool for FTP sites. So for those who are familiar with the product, you can have multiple FTP or FileCatalyst sites and locations created, and now you can actually have a rename tool. So you can rename those locations to whatever you want. And several LDAP and Active Directory improvements. Those would be, for example, you can now use an admin proxy LDAP account for searching user properties. So when a user logs in, for security reasons, they might not be able to query their own account, and with the admin account, now we can query all this information. We can also now search for different different paths in LDAP or AD to find the user's authentication DN before authenticating them. The list is quite long. This will come out in the release notes in a couple of weeks. I'm not gonna bore you here with every single feature we've added, but this kind of gives you an idea what came out. So if you want to know more about these products before I get into the demos, so first of all, you have the blog here. I've written this blog about a week ago that explains in detail of how TransferAgent works in workflow. You also have the FileCatalyst TransferAgent product page on our website, and as well there's a detailed blog of about the TransferAgent itself without the workflow piece, so you can understand a little bit more how things work. Just want to make sure everything is okay here. It seems like everything is fine, so we'll continue. All right, so I don't want to give you PowerPoint slides here, so let's go right. I think everybody has been waiting to see the software working. So first of all, what's how does it look like? So let me start with this is a standard login page for FileCatalyst Workflow. I'm going to log in here as a regular user. So once I'm logged in here, this is like a familiar interface where you can see, you're tracking your previous jobs I've submitted to the system. You have your tracking number to download these files, or you have, if it was a ingest type of submission, then you don't have a tracking number. So let's do here an example. I'm going to go into new job, and I'm just going to do a simple ingest type of job. So ingest meaning I'm just submitting large files. So here's my custom form. I have only one field. Once again, there's several webinars that explain you how these fields work if you want to understand how these fields work, but here's just an example of one field. And now I just hit on upload files. So this will present me with the window of launching FileCatalyst TransferAgent. So at this point here, I'm just going to launch it. And because I already had TransferAgent running, it remembered that I have the TransferAgent running. You can see here in the system tray, a new icon appeared with the TransferAgent running here. So here's an example of how a user that already has TransferAgent it looks like. So now I can just navigate for files here. This is my local drive. I can go to my downloads, or I can go to some folders here in my directory and upload a few files to the system. So I'm just selecting a few files to upload. Once again, I can upload directories just like I did with Applets. Even complex directory structures will go through this. It's no problem. So you can upload whatever folders you want, or files or folders with this. This starts my upload. So you can see TransferAgent actually deals with the transfers 2 files at a time. The transfer was fairly quickly here because I'm local, but it gives you an idea that you could see that the progress bar was showing me uploads of multiple files at once. Once again, it's to speed things up, make things faster, and make them work better. So, and in this case here, my job is now submitted. So this is one idea how this works. So now before I go any further, let's go and I'll show you what the user would see if they don't have TransferAgent installed. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to kill my TransferAgent. I'm going to go to my applications, and I'm going to uninstall TransferAgent, just so you can get an idea what an end user that has never been on the web page that needs TransferAgent would see. So here's I uninstalled it. I'm going to pull up my Edge again. And now before I go any further, I just have to go into here and delete my cache, because we always once the TransferAgent is installed, it actually installs a cookie on the web browser, so the web browsers knows how to deal with these type of pages. But here I'm going to show you that I have no cookies, clean install, and now I'm going to log in as that user again. So I'm going to go to new job, and this time I'm going to select distribution type of job, which is an email. So I want to send an email to, I'll just send it to myself. So now the user is provided to download the application. So they click on download, they get an explanation here what to do. So so right now I can either save it, so I'm just going to say here I'm going to run. And now this starts the install of the desktop app. So I have to accept the license, decide where to save the files. In my case here, I'm just going to move it to the root, but it doesn't. Program files is the default location, and the installer is done. Once again, the user has to do this only the first initial step, first initial time they have to run it. And now the transfer agent is pretty much done. I can do next and done. And here is my prompt now saying, this is actually coming now from transfer agent to make sure that this connection is allowed to run it, because don't forget that the user will have full will have full access to their C drive when they say yes. So that's why there's that permission window that comes up. Once again, the user can say remember always, and then this will go away. So now I'm back again into this place. Let me select some more files. And once again, I can use, check boxes here where I can add selected files. I'm just selecting a whole bunch of PDFs. And now you can see here the transfer happening for the file. So you see it's going, the progress is going 2 files at a time. Once again, this is configurable, but 2 files we've noticed was more than enough. And because this was an email type of job, I get here the tracking number appearing. So now let's look at what happens on the download side. So let me log out here and close this. And now I'm going to open my Thunderbird, which is my email client, and here are the files that I sent. So this is the first job that I sent, which was a ingest type of job, and here's the second type of job, which was the one I sent to distribution. So here's the download link. So now if I click on the download link over here, and here now see I switched to using, actually this is using Chrome right now, and Chrome once again doesn't support applets. So the download screen for the files that are sent also changed a little bit. Well, first of all, you still have download all files button like you had before. Before this was the Java applet, now it's just a regular button. We display the path where the files will be saved with a little question window here that shows the user how they can change that download path. So by default, all the files will go into the downloads folder, but we explain here what to do to change that download path. And to change the download path, it's once again through the system tray. If I right-click on the icon, I can open configuration of transfer agent, and this is something that the end user. This is on the end user side, so the end user can now change the download path to whatever they want. Here's that allowed origin files. So this was the first, this was that prompt that you saw about that this website is allowed to run transfer agent. So now with this, with this type of setup, when I click on download files, this will download all the files at once. Or as you can see now, I can download individual files. Why are there 2 links? One is UDP, one HTTP. Well, if the user is behind some severe firewalls, then UDP might not be allowed, so we provide the fallback of a regular HTTP transfers. And for UDP, well, they can download individual files via acceleration now. So in this case here, I'm just going to click on download all files. And once again, files are coming 2 at a time from the server. And we're just about done. So while this is downloading, I'll show you where things go here. If I go into downloads and my downloads folder here, it creates a new folder. It's created files from the resender, and it's the date stamp. So if I click on this here, you can see the files still are coming in. What's happening right now here, we're doing an MD5 checksum on this file. And all your files, doesn't matter how many you've received, are grouped together and arrive in this in the same location. So let's take a look at on the admin side. And just to show you where those settings are for these new features. So as you can see here, I logged in as an administrator now to the system, so I can see all the files that I have been sending. You can see here all the files that I've been sending. So if I want to enable TransferAgent as this new build, all I have to do is go to Modify Configuration, set Default File Transfer Method, and before here, there's a new option here called TransferAgent. So all you have to do is just set TransferAgent, and then you get these new download methods. If you select Java Applet or HTML form uploads, these are things that you're familiar with. We already had that. The protocol selection, once again, you always should probably leave this to auto. So TransferAgent will try to do UDP. If it cannot do UDP, it will try to do FTP with multiple sessions, meaning that it will try to accelerate your FTP transfers. If that fails, then it will do just plain old FTP, and then we also have an HTTP protocol that can be defaulted back. So once again, depends on your setup and on your firewalls, how things are set up, you can change this. Last but not least, you can also, all of this has been documented in online help here. So you have the new help files for end users, what they are, how they work, similar to when we had the Java Applet help pages. So all of this is documented here, and same thing on the download file side. It's all has been documented as well. So this gives you a sort of an overview. Some of the other features I wanted to mention is the LDAP stuff. So the LDAP settings, there's now new switches here, called prevent local user creation if user exists in LDAP and directory, search users with LDAP utility before attempting to bind. So we search for a user, use LDAP AD utility account to authenticate. So these are some of the LDAP changes. We had the JSON changes, and the release notes will come out shortly to see the rest, but that's pretty much the biggest one is the TransferAgent. Last thing I wanted to show you as well is the ability to close your web browser after you've submitted your files. So let me do this again here. I'm just going to go one more time. I'm going to go to submit another job here. So I'm going to go into my folder here. I'm going to select something a bit larger, two folders, and I'm going to hit upload, and now I can close this, and if I hurry here, I'll see in my transfer status, it's still, the transfer is going, although I shut down Edge and it's and shut down the transfer. So once this transfer is finished, it will actually submit all the job information as well, and everything will be submitted in the system. So if I log back in here into as init, you will see that this job actually has been submitted. This is the one here I just did. So you can see everything is submitted after the web browser is closed, or you can just navigate away from the page. So that's it. I can take a few questions if there's anything right now.